And also last week's recording, is it posted anywhere?
Yeah, it's posted in YouTube. Prableen Kukreja, you can search for the channel name. So I've started
Could you mention it in the chat? What is the YouTube link?
Okay, wait a second. I'll share the link with you. Again, people are like not muted. So I've wait a second. So I've muted everyone. Now it's like whosoever will ask the question, please, you can raise the hand, and if I'll ask the question, raise the hand to answer. And I have shared the YouTube link. You can see in the chat box. Any other questions till now? Okay, should we proceed? You can also comment and I also gave you the email link. If you have any doubt, you can share the doubt if you don't want to ask in the class. And one more thing, if you are having any doubt, you can comment in the YouTube video also. And I'll try to make this session more interactive one as per your feedback. And please don't unmute yourself like this only. Just raise your hand. I'm again and again requesting you guys. So let's start. So let's start today with the application layer protocols and application layer. So let's start with the DNS only. So first I'll ask you, what do you think? What is DNS? What is the full form of DNS? Let's make it as interactive. Whosoever wants to write in the chat, they can write in the chat. And if you want to give an answer, a brief answer to me, explaining the DNS whole structure, then you can raise your hand so that I can ask you. So domain name system, as everyone has written, and translate name to IP address. Yes, you all are absolutely correct. So it's basically domain name system. So let's have an example with a real life. If I talk about humans, I'll make it as simple as possible, as I got the feedback that it was more technical last time. So I'll start from the basic one. I'll make it more towards like giving the layman example so that everyone can understand. If I talk about humans, what if you want to identify what is, like, we can use the Aadhaar card number, we can use a birth certificate, I'll say, or I can say a driving license for our identification by the name. So that name will be appeared in birth certificate, that name will be appear in driving license. We are identified in many ways, I'll say. The same way as the human are identified, so is the internet host. So if I talk about like www.facebook.com or www.google.com. These are the host names, whatever we type basically. Are you able to find any location when we are typing? Is there any location indicated? As I told, humans are identified by the names that appear on the birth certificate, that appear on the driving license. The same way in internet, a host is identified by the host name. These are the host names. Is there a location? Which is no. Yes, absolutely correct. We can't find the location. What about this? Mm,
मजा आएगी हलवा तो
okay. Are you able to find any location here? Yes, France. Absolutely correct. Yes, there is a location here, which is the country code. France. That tell us that probably the host is probably in France. But it doesn't say much further, I'll say. Or it don't tell us the exact location. This is the other host names are telling nothing to us. As you can see, no location to us. But what do you think? Okay, so that is why I'll say, because host name and they are consisting of variable length, alphanumeric characters.
variable
Yes. Different, like not the same length everyone is having. They're having different lengths, everyone. So that is why by the routers, they're difficult to process. When they have to be transported by a device called router, they're difficult to process because everyone is having a different length for that. And that is why hosts are identified. Here they are identified by the host names. Now, hosts, that is why they are identified by the IP address, which will give us more specific information of the location as well, where the host is located. So that is why we move to IP address. One more reason is that now routers are preferring, I'll say, fixed length. They want a fixed length so that it will be easy for them to relocate that particular where it is coming from. Whereas if I talk about a human being wants a host name rather than an IP address. It's difficult to remember the IP address. Am I correct by saying that if it's difficult to for humans, it's easy for the host name, this www.facebook.com, whereas for router, as it is a fixed lane and the location is mentioned properly, so it's easier for the router that IP address should be there. So for the preferences, in order to reconcile these preferences, we need a directory service. Basically, we need a process that the host name, if I'm typing host name, it should be translated to the IP address. This is the main task of DNS, as you have mentioned in the chat also, that domain name system is useful in translating host name to IP address. That is the main task of it. Any doubt till now? I think I have explained in easier way everything. Any doubts? Okay, I'll proceed. Please mute. Okay, I'll mute them otherwise. Okay. Now the other question is, what I'll ask. I'll ask afterwards about that. And one more thing, I have bought some MCQs as well so that it will be easy for you. So what is the whole process? Let's try to understand the process of DNS, how it works basically. So if I'm writing something, www dot, I'll say some school dot edu. So main thing is the user host, it will obtain the IP address of this. How it will obtain the IP address? I'm writing the host name, it has to obtain the IP address. How it will obtain? Let's see. Now, the machine on which I have written this, that machine, the same machine, will run client side of DNS. It will run the DNS application, the client side DNS application. When we have written DNS application is run, what it will do? The browser, I have written on the browser this. The browser will extract this www.someschool.edu from the URL and pass this host name to client side of DNS application. Now DNS client side will query the DNS server side. Now the server side will basically reply with the IP address of the host name. And then once the IP address is there, I can make a connection. I'll say TCP connection. We'll come to TCP, UDP and all. These are transport layer protocols. What is happening? Let's again see. I'm just running the client-side DNS application, or I will start from browser when I'm writing on the on the URL. Like I'm writing that www dot from the URL, the browser will extract and it will pass it to the client-side DNS. Client-side DNS will pass it the query to the server-side DNS. Server-side will basically give us the IP address, and once the browser will receive the IP address, a TCP connection is built on to it. Like the TCP means a transport. Leave that TCP connection. Once it is passed on to that, then the server can be able to transport it, or the other processes will come. And there is also, okay, do you understand by the word cache memory before explaining anything? Okay, someone is asking, how do we know about our weekly assignment marks, like after due date or after submission only? I think it's after due date. Okay, maybe I'll discuss the last week's assignments in the next lecture, week 0, week 1, and this week 2 assignment as well. In next lecture, we'll come up with the assignments because I haven't seen that yet. Okay, coming to the cache memory. How to do assignments? I think if it's clear in the class, you or with the lectures as well, you maybe like it's easier for you to able to solve that MCQs only. I think, are there only MCQs? I can't solve the assignment because it's not allowed. Yes, what I can do is when you have submitted and you have got the result, then I can you have got the result, then I can solve the previous assignment, because it's like I'm not allowed to solve the current assignment. Though I can do one thing, from next time I'll bring the questions similar to assignment. That is what I'll do. Okay, cache yet it shows previous resolution in local memory. Cache memory is the fastest memory and it is close to CPU. Yes, cache memory is the fastest memory. Yes, you all are correct. So it is basically nearby the DNS server. So it to avoid the additional delay, I'll say temporary storage, cache memory is small, high speed up memory that stores frequently accessed data. Absolutely correct. I think these lecture material is enough for you and you can also refer to the books as well. And if you have any doubt, no, PDF is fine, but I think so lecture material is enough. Still, if you want to get the clarity of any concept, then you can mail me. I'll teach that concept specifically and doubts also. And okay, the other doubt is okay. You can see the before class in the YouTube lecture, Kishore. I'll basically I'll again send the link to you in the chat box after this class. Okay, now let's come back to it. So basically, DNS adds an additional delay. So fortunately, I'll say, okay, we have a DNS server also. You know that the desired IP address, basically, it is cached in nearby DNS server. So we don't have one DNS server, we have multiple DNS servers. So nearby DNS server basically cache it so that we don't have to call it again and again to the far away DNS server. The nearby DNS server is caching it. I'll come to this concept in detail. Now what do you think? As we now we have understood, I think so, that okay, the main motive of DNS is to convert the host name to the IP address, because it's easy for us also and for the routers as well. What are the other services that DNS provides? Any idea? Any idea? Yes, I'll share the mail ID at last. So these questions you can ask later on. First, let's focus on the content of today's. Again, I'm going very slow. So address lookup, okay. That is in one sense same only. Name resolution, again, it's same only. The main concept is, the main motive is this only for all these. What is aliasing? Anyone? What do you mean by aliasing? Any idea? That we know, that it is changing host name into IP and vice versa. Interesting. To find canonical name. Yes, I'll come to that. Okay, Joseph, you have mentioned to find the canonical name. Can you tell me what is canonical name? Check health of the server. No, I don't think so. The original name. Okay. So yes, absolutely correct, Joseph. We have one original name and we have, okay, again, I'll try to relate with the layman language. So we have, suppose, a real name or original name, or as Joseph mentioned, we have a canonical name. Let's call canonical name as real name. And now we have some nicknames as well. So suppose there are multiple nicknames. Let's have an example. I have, suppose, a complicated host name. Like relay.westcoach.enterprise.com. Now I have this complicated host name. I don't want to mention this complicated host name. So suppose there are two aliases. Sorry. So suppose there are two aliases. Two aliases means this is a real name. I'm making multiple nicknames for that. So multiple, this refers to as alias here. Multiple nicknames or alias here. So suppose I give it two nicknames. Enterprise.com, if I'll type, again the same thing will be called. And if I'll type www.enterprise.com, then also same thing is called. So this is canonical host name, and these are aliases. So this also facility, the aliasing facility is also host aliasing, I'll say here, is also given by the DNS. Why? Okay, a question arises, why I'm doing so? I have though answered this question in the question in while explaining this also. Why the aliasing is helpful? Why you are giving nicknames to an original name? Any idea? Security purpose. Okay. To make it easy, basically. Or one perspective can be branding also. That easy. If I want to saving space on server, one sense we can say load distribution. I'll come to that. So basically, it's like for making it easier for the clients, basically, rather than writing such a long host name, it's preferable to write the small host name. For branding purpose, if I want to I want to have the brand purpose, because I don't want my customers to write such a long host name so that they shouldn't remember. Or I can say for the domain management, it will be easy for them, for the server as well. The same is mail server aliasing also. Let's not go for that. Okay. The other is load distribution. Mail aliasing is same for okay. Load distribution. Can you think of what do you mean by DNS is providing a service of load distribution? Any idea? I have mentioned in the class now only something related to load distribution here only. Give me wrong answer also, it's fine. Just correct. Anyone else want to give the answer? Gopal Krishna, absolutely correct. When server gets loaded with many connection, it's shared by the multiple server. Yes, it's somewhat related with the multiple servers thing. So if I'm typing example.com, as we saw the process, DNS client will basically run it and then send to DNS server. This DNS server will respond with the IP address. DNS client will basically send this to DNS. First of all, browser, we'll write it from browser DNS client, it will be sent, and then from DNS client, it will be sent to the server, and the server will send us the IP address. Now, DNS also help in load distribution as it sends multiple IP address as well. Now, for one canonical name, original name, I'll say canonical host name, multiple IP address can be also there. That is what I was mentioning, that nearby IP address, it will be basically the desired nearby DNS server, it will be cached onto. So we have multiple IP address so that load can be basically distributed. So we'll pick up the nearest IP and or whatever the desired IP, and the request is sent to that server. So there are multiple IP address, so load is basically distributed among them. I hope so. This load balancing will help. It is a process of evenly distributing workloads across multiple resources. No. I'm talking with the perspective of this DNS. So we are having multiple IP address for the same host name. When DNS client is asking the DNS server is basically replying with the multiple IPs for the same host name, so that it can it can pick any one IP and request is sent to the server. Any IP, it can pick it. Mainly, it will pick up nearest or whatever the desired IP, I'll say. Is it clear? Should we move? So we got to know what is DNS, what are the services provided, though main service is this only, host name to IP address. But the other services, at least you should know about that, that host aliasing can be there, load distribution can be there, or so on. Is it clear? Should I proceed? Can someone answer this? What I have written? Okay, can someone unmute yourself and explain why it's distributed? If one of you have written centralized, others have written distributed, why it's distributed? Okay, it's distributed, first of all. I'll tell you why it's distributed. What are the problems with, I'll ask another question. What are the problems with centralized design? Yes? Anyone, please, can you raise your hand? Just give it a try at least. And then we can discuss making it more interactive. Okay, someone has written distributed to cater multiple regions. Concurrent services. Okay, centralizes bottleneck, long delay, absolutely.
Is it because of the too much data?
Yes, one of the reason is, yes, it is because of the too much of data as well.
I think keeping it at one place will give more delay if somebody is
Yes.
trying to search for a host name, then it will have to go through a long data.
Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So as he said that I'll say in other words traffic volume, or okay, data volume or traffic volume. So it has to handle, if I'll say one DNS server, it has to handle so much of queries. It will take delay also, as you said, it will take so much of time as well. So it's very difficult. And what about if I'll write single point of failure in centralized? What do you mean by this statement? Aman Kumar, you're also correct. What do you mean by single point of failure?
So if one point fails, then basically all clients would be affected.
Yes, yes, yes. So if DNS server crashes, I'll say, so does the entire internet. Is the statement correct? So obviously there is a one server single point of failure. And if we have distant centralized database or distant server, basically centralized database, I'll say. So obviously it will be like if you are putting like DNS server in one area and all the queries are coming from a very distant place, it will perhaps take a very long time, and congested links as well, significant delays also. Maintenance is also difficult. Main thing is, as you said, that so much of data, it will be difficult to handle. Distant, it will be again a delay problem. Maintenance will be a problem, and single point of failure will be a problem, because the server crashes, whole internet is crashed. So that is why DNS is distributed by design. It is hierarchical basically in nature. So there are three classes of DNS server, main classes, though I'll come to the other as well.
Sorry to interrupt. Fourth
Huh?
point is maintenance, or what is it?
Maintenance.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll say DNS is basically, it is organized in hierarchical fashion and distributed all around the world. There are three classes of DNS servers. Root DNS server, top level domain DNS, and authoritative DNS server. Can anyone tell me what are these in short only, as like we have discussed in the, I think like in the lecture also this thing was discussed at least. The earlier things are maybe not discussed. I was trying to add some things so that you should know more concept. Yes. Basic idea only I want. What is root DNS server? Let's proceed. So basically root DNS server. Then top level domain like com, org, DNS server, edu. Then we have like suppose facebook.com, amazon.com, and so on. This is like a I'll say portion of hierarchy. And if a DNS client wants to suppose know about the host name www.amazon.com, the client will contact to root DNS server, and then the root DNS server will basically give me the address, IP address of TLD server. Then the client will then contact TLD server, which will return the IP address of authoritative server. Which is basically amazon.com. So what is the basically root name server will always provide me the IP address of TLD servers, and TLD servers, they provide me the IP address of authoritative servers. And authoritative DNS server, like I'll say every organization like Facebook, Amazon, these are having their publicly accessible hosts, I'll say on the internet, and which are mapping the names to the host IP address. Universities or large companies or so. Is it clear? Holds the original authoritative copy of the domain name records. Translate domain name to the IP address. Okay.
What is TLD is top level domain.
Top level domain. Like com, org, or it also contains that FR was mentioned in the starting of the lecture, France, or the countries basically domain name that are basically in the top level domain name. So root like this one, com, org, edu, and then comes for each organization or so. That is the hierarchy which is followed here. So that to manage the whole DNS thing, to manage this thing. So that is what is followed here for making it more unique, I'll say. Now coming to fully qualified domain names. This was just taught in the lecture, so I'll not tell you. I want the answer from you only, as you might have just a one-line answer, and we'll proceed forward. What is fully qualified? What do you think by the name itself?
Is it a name of
have
the
doubt.
server? Sorry, go ahead.
Complete address.
Complete address, basically, ending with dot or so, and not not at all like partially qualified means incomplete, and it's a complete address. Just this is a definition that are called fully qualified. Now, I have also told you about the country domains. Now okay. I'll write first and then I expect this. Maybe you have got this concept. What is domain, subdomain, as well as zone? DNS domain, DNS subdomain. Please, any one of you can unmute and explain this concept in short, basically. Ending with dot means like when we are writing any address, so basically it's dot csc dot I, like they have given the example, csc dot iattp dot ac dot in. That dot should be there properly. So that is basically. We don't end basically after in, it's not dot, or after dot host name, tld amazon dot, after Amazon it's dot. This I'll say authoritative server after the authoritative address facebook.com is basically tld. This after Facebook there is a dot, after Amazon there is a dot, I mean to say. So they are ending with the dot, and then com is from the tld server. This authoritative, they are ending with the dot. Am I correct with this statement? What I think, like, am I correct by saying this?
Can you say again, please?
I
What were
mean
you
to
saying?
say the dot is after the authoritative address, after the authoritative D. Like if I'm saying Facebook, I mentioned here like it is ending with the dot. So there is a question in the chat. It's not ending with the dot because after com there is no dot. No, all subdomains also end with the dot. Okay, can you, Gopal, can you unmute yourself and explain what is your question so that everyone can answer it? Yes. Okay. Okay, we'll discuss afterwards. So what do you mean by DNS domain, DNS subdomain, and DNS zone?
I want to understand something. Maybe it's very basic, but I want to
Yeah,
ask you a
sure.
question. How does it work? Like when somebody searches for a website, for example, www.google.com, it's the most simple thing. So how does it happen at the DNS level? It searches for you said TLD server first, right? So TLD means the .com, that is the TLD server, and then it searches for the authoritative server, which is the Google, that is the name, right? Does it work like that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think maybe many people might be having this doubt. Is it clear? So for com, first of all, they are searching. Then for the Google, they are searching TLD server. Then they are going to the authoritative server. Yes, the question is what is DNS domain, what is DNS subdomain, as well as what is DNS zone? Any idea about that? I think in lecture it's covered. Just a wild guess.
DNS subdomain is a part of a DNS domain,
Yes.
and
Part of main domain. Absolutely
yes.
correct.
Madam, it is a part of hierarchy from top, from root and a top level domain to subdomain. We can have dot dot.
If I'm not wrong, you were in RL class also, Gopal. My reinforcement learning class.
Oh, yeah. You were there. I think your voice is familiar.
Yes.
That, long time ago. That was a long time ago, madam.
Yes. That was, I think, 1.5 years ago.
Yes. Nice of you remembering me.
Okay.
I have done 82 courses, madam. NPTEL and SWAYAM.
Oh, that's great. So what are you doing? Okay,
No,
we'll discuss.
Anyway, that's detour. I am a retired faculty. These are all the new subjects.
You told me. Yes. So subdomain, as you have told, it is a part of the main domain. And main domain, I can say that unique name that is identifying a website. That is basically a domain name. Suppose example.com, that is a domain name. Now, part of the main domain, as told by you guys only, I'll say that allows better organization of different services like www.example.com. This is the unique name. Or I'll say mail.example.com, part of main domain that is allowing different services, I'll say. Or I'll say blog.example.com. These are all subdomains. Now DNS zone, coming to that. Section of DNS system managed separately. What do you mean by that? Let's say, if I say domain name, it's like it's a home address. I'll say subdomain, it's like room inside the house. And if I say about zone, it's like it is more of administrative, the DNS zone, and it's more of naming part, domain and subdomain. Like in layman language, area you are in charge of, part of the house. Or which DNS server is managing. So if I say this is managed by one DNS server, this is one zone, and this is managed by another DNS. This is the another zone. That is basically the zone. The domains are broken into the zones, I'll say, for which individual DNS servers are responsible. So this is zone 1. This is managed by the another server. So that is zone 2. It is more of administrative. If I talk about domain and subdomain, subdomain is the part of the main domain. Is it clear now? I was hoping that you might answer it, this zone also. Is it clear now, or I should give more example?
Madam, just one clarification.
Yeah, sure.
We can have any number of subdomain. For example, blog.example.a.com, right?
Yes. Should we proceed? I hope so. The zone part is also clear. Now coming to, okay, one more thing. As I have mentioned, authoritative servers. So we have non-authoritative server as well. Any idea what do you mean by authoritative server? And okay, we have seen that, okay, google.com and facebook.com, these are authoritative. Facebook, these are authoritative servers.com was the TLD. Now what is non-authoritative, and what do you mean by difference between authoritative and non-authoritative?
Madam, my rough understanding is non-authoritative or something local. We maintain it without going to authoritative for every resolution. Maybe I don't know. Authoritative means the master server, which is well protected and
Somewhat correct. Anyone else want to answer?
Ma'am, authoritative server means the IP address of corresponding host names get registered in the main server, like in root server. That is authoritative.
Yes. Anyone else? So I'll say it's the official source of information. As you said, it's registered, yes. So they are not having, I'll say, they don't have direct or I'll say original data for the domain you queried. I'll come to it, what I mean by this. So here they are providing me official answers because it holds the record for that domain. Here, what is happening? They are asking from another DNS server, or maybe the cache data they're already having, and then they are retrieving the answer from another server, which is authoritative, and they are not having the original record itself. So that is why they are non-authoritative. Is it clear? Owned by organization, yes, it is like original one, official source. And non-authoritative is they're asking some other authoritative, or from the cache data they are answering the question. They don't actually know about it. They don't have the data about it. They don't have the IP address which they have to provide. So they're asking them. Now, can you tell me the difference between recursive as well as iterative name resolution?
Can you please scroll the page up for 1 minute, please?
Yes, sure.
Just this much. Doesn't have direct original data.
For domain you queried.
Queried, okay.
So can you?
This means like sometimes when the IP address, they're not able to get the IP address. So they are searching it in the non-authoritative server, in the cached data.
Non-authoritative is searching in the cache data, or they're asking by the another authoritative server who actually have this data.
Okay. So like they have typed the domain name, www, but it is not getting completed. The page is not storing. So IP address, they're not getting the IP address. And that is why they are asking the authoritative server to search in the cache data.
Yes, they are searching in the cache data, or maybe by the another server which is authoritative in nature.
Okay.
Which is actually having that address.
Okay.
Can you tell me the difference? Anyone can tell me the difference between recursive name resolution and name server and iterative resolution? Yes, come on. I think in class they have taught. Okay, one more thing. Someone has asked me like proxy server. No, it's not like proxy server. There is a difference. Here, what they are doing is, if they don't have the information about the domain name, they're querying another DNS server, or they're querying or they're like looking at the cache thing. But in proxy server, it's like a intermediary between the client and I'll say the internet for the like anonymity as well, because they don't want to for the security purpose, I'll say.
Madam, I explain, I vaguely understand what is iterative. See, in iterative, what happens is once you give the full domain name, no, you can't give full domain name. Each one we have to individually send request, all thing. That is iterative. Recursive, once you give a full domain name address to the server, that itself does it and gives the final IP. That's
Absolutely correct.
vaguely
Absolutely. 2 point. So, as he said, that here the server is fully responsible. I'm writing the like domain name, and here the server is fully responsible for this. They have to find that IP and all. Here, the client is responsible for resolving the domains. Can I say this? By querying multiple servers. So, whenever I'm writing or the www.example.com, so I'm giving it to server, that server, or that I'll say local resolver. We also say that, or full resolver or local resolver. So that is fully responsible to fetch me the IP address of that. Here, who is responsible? Here, the client will itself ask many servers. There is a duty of one server asking the all other servers, and it will respond to the client. So it is like, I'll say it is like asking other servers on behalf of the client here, the recursive one. If I talk about the process, server is querying another server. That is what I'm saying. On behalf of client. Here, client query each DNS server itself. If I say about flow, I'll say single query, recursive resolver. This recursive resolver is like whichever server is responsible for, and it is handling everything. Here, multiple queries are going from the client. All are referring to the same thing only. Just for the more understanding, I'm writing the points. One more thing, caching is also there. Resolver here caches it, caches the answers for future use if again the same thing like is asked. So same domain same host name is given. So there is the resolver can only answer. It don't have to query another server because it has already it is in the cache memory, I'll say. So here client is handling for the caching thing. This is obvious. Any doubt in all these points? You can read it. I hope so it's clear. I hope so the things are getting more clear about DNS.
Madam, I feel recursive is what is desirable. When do we use iterative actually?
Okay, when do we use iterative? Maybe some application we have to think of. So here, client is basically asking for any one of you can think of any application when we use iterative, when we use recursive. Yes, that is what I am also thinking. Nice question though. So what we are doing is we are asking every client. I think internet service provider here is one thing. Okay. Maybe I'll in the next class I'll come with the application. Real world application.
Madam, what I think is for normal application programmers like us, recursive is the approach. For writing anyone systems programming like internet services, algorithms, and all,
Yes,
they may have to use that, I think.
Yes, I also think so. Like, I think internet service provider itself use this iterative resolver only. Like when client is basically asking for that. So I think so. Or one more thing. Yes. Edge computing or IoT networks, when we have limited resources, so they are only they are not having another server here for or a resolver here. In that case, I think IoTs or the resource constrained devices maybe. One thing is that suppose I'm asking the server, client is asking the server, it will get the reply from that server only. It can also be the case. In that case, it's fast. Like I ask server 1 and I got the reply. I don't have to ask server 2 for that. So in that case, I think it is more faster and more efficient, because here there is another resolver here. Maybe. What do you guys think about this? Yes. I think so, to resolve it more quickly, the faster thing. I think so. Though I'll answer this question in the next class. I think so. This can be the answer here. I don't want the server on behalf of me to answer it, and to make it more fast, that the first server is only replying to me. Obviously, here there are lesser chances that resolver is caching, because is having in its cache memory. And one more thing is that here, maybe the answer, suppose here the client doesn't have to ask for the, I'll say resolver here. In the iterative case, they don't have to ask the resolver. And sometimes they have so many IP addresses in their cache memory that they think, okay, I'll basically handle it. I'll check it in my cache memory and I'll answer it. And many resource constrained devices, they think that, okay, the time and all, it will be more quick here, that if I have the IP address in my cache memory only, I don't have to ask any server here. But here, it's the duty of here the request has to be sent to the local resolver at least, to the recursive resolver at least, I'll say. Which is more effective, recursive or iterative? It do depend on the application itself. What do you think by this explanation? Is it correct that a client is having many IP address in its cache memory, and it doesn't have to, obviously, to be more fast, it don't have to request a server itself. So here one request is essential in the recursive one, but here in iterative, it's not necessary that one request is also there. It maybe the IP address is itself sitting in its cache memory. Does it make sense?
Maybe, madam, another reasoning is in case of recursive, everything is not transparent because the recursive server, takes its own DNS server addresses from its own table and resolves it. Whereas in IP2, the client is in control.
Yes,
Suppose client knows that there is one DNS server which is reliable. I use this, but this one I use this one I use this. Then the client has control of which DNS server I need to ask. Rather than giving it to completely through the recursive server, which is like a black box.
Absolutely correct. Here it's in the control of client. Absolutely correct answer. And recursive, it's in the control of DNS resolver. And speed also, I think iterative is more faster than the recursive resolver. Okay, let's go ahead. I think so. DNS. Okay, what is stub resolver? It's just a one extra step. I'll say they are forwarding it to full resolver, and then the whole thing is happening. I'll not go in detail for that. And messages and all, that is just the part which you can see yourself. I'm just explaining the concepts here. I think so. DNS, you might have understood. We can go with the MCQs so that we can check that our understanding is, we have properly understood, or we need more understanding with that. Wait a second, let me open that. One minute. I think I have written the questions in my Google Docs. Wait a second, just. My screen is visible, guys? Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I've shared the Google Docs only. What is the primary function of DNS? Encrypt network traffic, convert domain name to IP address, monitor network performance, manage the basic only questions. Yes, everyone is correct here. B is the answer. So I don't have to explain this. Which type of DNS record is used to map a domain name to an IP address? What do you think? It's basically Priyadarshini, you are correct. It's C. Can you, okay. Basically, a type of DNS record is used to map a domain name to an IP address. This is a record name, nothing to explain here. A record is basically used for mapping. What does CNAME record do? CNAME means canonical name. We have already done now. Joseph, Priyadarshini, please write 2A, 2B, 3A, 3C. Ramya Devi, please write 3 question number, whatever you are answering. Yes, okay. So as we have learned in the class, it's like create an alias for another domain. Canonical name is basically the real name, and we are creating the nicknames for that. What is the role of root DNS server in DNS resolution? Stores all the domain name records, resolve IP address for all websites, direct queries to appropriate TLD server, directly return the website IP address. Fourth, okay. Some people are writing B, some people are writing C. So can any one of you who have written B can explain why it's B, and someone who has written C can explain why it's C? Can you unmute yourself? One of you who has written B and one of you who has written C.
Madam, I have written C because the root level only knows about the next level, top level. For example, Amazon.com. .com only knows about what is there. So the root is something which is only one server. That first will direct to the .com. .com is a
Absolutely correct.
TLD, and that TLD will direct it to, sorry, that .com will direct it to Amazon.
Absolutely correct. So root DNS server's main function is to direct the query to appropriate TLD server. They are not giving us the full IP address. If we see the hierarchy, remember the hierarchy which I have told you. Which DNS server is responsible for domain specific records? For maintaining domain specific records. So root DNS server, okay, 5D, Nivesh has said, Aman has said 5C. 5B also, someone has said, Joseph, 5C. It's actually Kishore, Nivesh, you are right. It's 5D. So basically for maintaining domain specific records means at the end, who is helping us with the whole address, who is giving us the whole address, who is maintaining, that is authoritative one only. This is just a what port you should know at least. What port does the DNS primarily use? Maybe I'll skip this. This is 53. Yes, absolutely correct. What type of DNS record is used to specify an email server for the domain? At least you should know this. It's MX. Can someone tell me the full form of MX?
Mail
exchange.
Mail exchange.
Which DNS query type allows the client to send one request and receive a complete resolution?
Recursive query.
Recursive query. You can write in the chat only so that everyone can also answer when I'll ask you about the explanation. Okay, yes, now can you give me the explanation as well? Write in the chat because otherwise others will know the answer beforehand only, before thinking only. Why it's recursive? Now anyone can mute. While explanation you can mute, unmute. Yes.
Recursive means the server having the fully responsible to clarify the client's query, ma'am.
So that is why only one request is sent to the resolver only. So that server to that server only, so that it's fully responsible for the whole thing.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the purpose of pointer record in DNS? I think I haven't taught that. It's a reverse DNS. Okay, I'll tell you. It's a reverse DNS lookup. It maps an IP address to the domain name, basically. So it's if IP is given and domain name we have to find rather than domain name to IP. It's IP to domain name, that pointer record. In DNS hierarchy, which server follows the root DNS server? Yes. What is the answer of that? Write in the chat only. Don't unmute. Absolutely correct. Which DNS record is used for text-based? I think this is easy, pretty easy. 11th one. Yes, absolutely correct. A, text record. What is the purpose of any cast? Maybe you'll learn something new here. 12th. Yes, 11th is A, 12th. Shirisha has answered B. Do you know that, or it was a wild guess, Shirisha? Yes, it's actually B. Anycast, what it does, it allows multiple servers to share the same IP address, as we have Here, what like multiple servers are there and sharing the same IP address, and it will direct the users to the nearest one. That is the purpose of any cast. Okay, somewhat no. Yes, that is the purpose of any cast. So we are having same IP address for the multiple servers, and it's helping us to to direct it to the nearest DNS server. What is DNS resolver? 13th. 13B, absolutely correct. What is the default TTL value in mini DNS configuration? Okay, can someone tell me what is time to live? TTL. Leave about this. This is just a cramming question. What is TTL, first of all? I wrote this question just to tell you about this TTL thing. Though more conceptual based question will come in this, not this type of question, but I wrote this just to make you understand about what is TTL.
Maybe something like for timeout. Okay. The response, then that is timeout and you have to resend.
For caching, it's like for DNS cache, it's like timeout. It will stay there in the cache memory for this much long time. So it's like 1 hour, they'll stay there. In many DNS configuration, it's like for 1 hour, they'll stay there. Again, they have to like request for the host name. Otherwise, then it will not stay in the cache memory. That is the time to live. Otherwise, it's timeout only. So what is the purpose of SRV record in DNS? It basically defines service, protocol, and port of the domain. I haven't told you, that is why. What is DNS caching? More questions will come conceptual based. What is DNS caching? This is easy. Yes, absolutely correct, everyone. It's A. Basically storing frequently accessed DNS record. Which protocol is used for storing DNS queries? Maybe you know about it as we use it in our daily life. Can you repeat 14th and 15th? 14th is time to live, for how long it is in the cache memory. That is basically time to live. And this is 1 hour, it will stay there. And what is the purpose of SRV record? This is just basically SRV record. It is defining the service, protocol, and port of the domain. More conceptual based, like whatever is taught in the class, that will be there. And okay, 17th B there, everyone is saying, someone is saying A. What do you think? HTTPS, it's basically for security. So it's like DNS over HTTPS. 17th C. If a DNS resolver doesn't have the requested domain in its cache, what does it do? These type of questions may come. 18th. Absolutely correct. It's B, send the request to high-level DNS server. What is the purpose of DNS zone file? A, absolutely correct. Storing DNS record. Obviously, it can't be block unwanted website, encrypt or manage. Which type of DNS query, does not require the DNS server to contact other servers? It's basically, I haven't taught, that is non-recursive query. So what is it, non-recursive query? So they are answering directly from the cache without querying any other DNS server. That is basically non-recursive query. Like in recursive query, we are going to the recursive resolver and like recursive resolver, and that is basically resolving our query. Iterative client is basically requesting all the servers. Now, if we don't have to query another DNS server and we have it in our cache, that is basically non-recursive. That's it for DNS. These are the DNS question. Maybe it might it helped you. Now let's go to the other topic. Client server protocol model. Okay, I'll go in short. Though we can discuss, or one part is we can discuss only the MCQs, otherwise, and by, or what do you want, that I should only discuss the MCQs with you, like the question part, because we have less time, or I should, or you are more interested in the concept as well as MCQs? I should make you like, what do you want, the concept as well as MCQs, or only MCQs in the class only? Yes, anyone can both. Okay, concept and MCQs. Maybe. Okay. So, okay, someone is saying explain MCQs. Most of them are saying both. So let's go for both. MCQs anyway, I'll give you. Don't worry about that. So, client server model. Can someone explain me what is the role of server? What is the role of client here?
Ma'am, client is requesting something, the server has to respond to that request, like request and response model.
Yes, very well answered. Requesting the service, they are offering the service or responding to that service. So server is waiting for the request from the client, and then the like client is basically requesting it. They may be on same machine, they may be on different machines as well. What is concurrent server? Yes.
Concurrent means the server can handle multiple requests, client requests simultaneously.
And if it's not concurrent, then iterative server. What is iterative?
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
you are correct.
No. Yeah, I got it. See, in case of concurrent, what happens is for every request, a server copy is generated, a parallel copy, so that multiple requests are processed parallelly. In case of iterative, that for example, request 1, until unless request 1 is complete, the request 2 cannot be handled.
Yes. Absolutely correct. So it is a single copy of server is running at all times. So basically, until the request 1 is not completed, the server is the server is not completing the first client request. It will not go to the second one. Server serves one client, then go to the another one. Concurrent server is basically, I'll say, serving all of the clients together. That is basically concurrent. So another concept is socket. I'll go fast. Okay, before this, okay, I don't think so we have much here in client server. Just we'll go with the MCQs here, and then we'll try to understand this concept. There is no not much of the explanation required for this. Maybe if you'll have doubt, I'll go to that explanation as well. In the client server model, which component requests services? As you have answered now only. Right, Gopal, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. It's absolutely correct. It's 1B. Oh, 1 minute. Which component requests services? 1 minute. 1 minute. Hold for a second. Phone is ringing. Okay. Maybe. Okay, let's take 10 minutes of break. As I have to go, my kid is basically like crying now. Just 10 minutes of break so that you can also take your time for getting fresh or so. And we'll meet after 10 minutes. Is it fine? 7:32. Is it fine? Okay. So you can take the screenshot of these 5 questions. Or I mean to take the photo. Or answer these basically before okay. I don't want you to be free. Answer these 5. You have taken the photo. Should I proceed with others? Should I proceed with the 6 to 10 question? Taken the photo?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now 6 to 10, can you take the photo? Taken the photo, should I proceed? Should I proceed? Yes. 11 to 15. Taken the photo? Please write in the chat, proceed. Take the screenshot or take the photo. Okay. 16 to 20. Should I proceed? Okay, now it's the end. Okay. So I think solve these 20 questions. I'll meet you at 7:35 or 40. Is it fine?
Hello.
Yes. Any doubts? Are you solving the question? What about others? Only Shirisha has answered. Are you solving the questions?
Babar.
Okay, okay. Whenever you have solved all the 20 questions, you can write in the chat box so we can discuss about them.
Priya.
Please mute yourself. If you don't have any question, don't create disturbance in the class. Are you you guys have done? Should we discuss or we should wait?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll start. What about others? It shouldn't be the case that they are thinking that I'll come at 7:35, so they have gone for roaming or like. Okay, I'll start now. Oh. Coming to the second question. What is the primary function of the server in client server model? To provide services and respond to the client request. Absolutely correct. Which of the following is an example of client server model? Please write 3A, 3B, 2A, 2B. Yes. Yes, absolutely correct. A web browser accessing the website. Which protocol is commonly used in the client server communication for securing web services? For securing, whosoever has written A, it's for security. So it's HTTPS. Whenever security comes into picture, the S is there. HTTPS, not HTTP. Keep this thing in mind. In the client server, fifth question, in the client server model, where is the processing load typically higher? What do you think? Think logically. Yes, absolutely. Obviously, it will be more in the server side, Shirisha. Which of the following is not a characteristic of client server model? Somewhere. It's sixth question. Okay, sixth C. Yes, absolutely correct. Aman Surbhi. There is no equal distribution of workload. So as they have said that there is equal distribution, no, it's not there. Yes, it's centralized control. Which of the following is not a type of client server architecture? Seventh D, linear architecture. What is the main disadvantage? Wait a second. Of client server model? As we have seen, it's centralized. Now answer it carefully. C, because it's centralized, so server failure can disrupt the entire network. Which protocol is used for sending emails? Though we have to come, but already I think in the lectures you have seen SMTP. Absolutely correct. What type of server is responsible for translating domain name into IP addresses? C, DNS server. Which of the following is an example of client in a client server model? 11th question. It's easy. It's web browser only. Absolutely correct. In a three-tier client server model, which component act as a middle layer? What do you think? First of all, what do you think? What can be three-tier client server model? Yes, it's application server. So three-tier means one is presentation, which is the front end, and backend will be the one will be the backend there, and the middle layer will be the application server there. Yes, yes, client, server, and database. Yes, absolutely correct. What happens if a server in a client server model fails? What do you think? What will happen? It's 13th, not 17th. Yes, absolutely correct. Ishita, it's not C, it's basically B here. That is why that was the problem discussed in the earlier one, that a server failure can disrupt the entire network. If another client will automatically become a server, then it's obviously that doesn't make sense. All the client requests to the server will fail. That is 13th B. Which of the following is the benefit of using a client server model? It's not decentralized. Whoever is writing decentralized. We have said it now only, it's not decentralized. It's actually B, Surbhi has written correctly. High scalability and security. In the next class, I want to know why it's B. I forgot the previous class also asked something. Okay, I'll remember this time. It's 14th B. Why it's B? In the next class, or someone wants to answer now can answer. It's actually high scalability and security, but why?
Madam, in case of load increases, I can put additional servers. So that is scalability.
Yes.
And security also, secure HTTPS
Yes, yes.
protocols I can use to make it secure.
Absolutely. Fifteenth, which protocol is used for web clients?
Ma'am, why in 14th, why it is, no, I think it's the 13th one.
I want what? Okay.
13th one.
Okay.
Yeah. Which one we were discussing? This, okay, no, 14th only. The why it's not D. There is no need for a dedicated server, right? If it's a client based.
So benefit of using a client server model. Client server model. We have a dedicated server. Is it not true?
Okay. No, I am asking. That is why I'm not sure.
I think because there is a two-way client and server, we do have a client dedicated server for there when the communication is happening. It's centralized only. It's centralized, then it's a dedicated server. Because one we are having, na? Centralized one server dedicated only.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Which protocol is used by web clients to request web pages? HTTP, yes. In a client server network, where is the user authentication usually handled? Server end, absolutely correct. What is an example of multi-tier client server architecture? Seventeenth B, as we have seen an example also. Like of three-tier client server architecture before, presentation layer, backend, front end, and that. Which component in the client server model stores and processes website data? Yes. What do you think? I'm unable to see the chart. Yes, absolutely correct. To assess this practice session later also. Okay, I'll give you the link of these like I have to upload these slides and all. So I'll give you the link of that, the Google Drive. I have to upload them in Google Drive. I'll give you the link next time, or maybe I'll mention that link in my YouTube channel only. So in the client server model, which of the following is not the role of the server? Sending request to the clients. Absolutely correct. I hope so. The client server model is understood by you guys. I hope so. Now coming to the socket thing. I think so. I've made enough questions to make it understandable. So what is socket? Maybe I think in the next coming lectures, maybe I taught in more detail, just the definition, what is socket, which is being taught in the class. What is the main role of the socket?
Madam, it is something we use in our application program to make a connection to a remote server or another machine on the internet.
Yes.
Yeah. Whenever we want to transfer some data or something, first we have to open a socket. It's like a pipe, and then you can use the socket number and then make a calls.
Absolutely correct. We have a socket ID as well, socket number you say. Basically, it is allowing a data exchange between client and server. Can I say that? So what is the process which is happening? Server basically creates a socket and listen for incoming connections. This is how it happens. Now, what do client do? Client basically connects to the server socket using IP and port. Okay. First of all, I want to ask you, do you guys know what is port number? Like I'm mentioning IP address, port number, just a basic question.
Madam, for any machine, an application program always listens to a port. The ports are some 0 to 256. So because on a machine, there could be several application programs which are listening to that socket. So port number is like a, to avoid confusion, which application program is actually calling or receiving data. So we had to distinguish between application programs. Each application program will have a separate port to listen to requests from client. Yeah.
Absolutely correct. So every application is having a different port number. Can like he has explained, can anyone else port number can be a number, not necessarily. Okay. Can any one of you also can explain an easier way so that everyone can understand? He has explained very well though. Just a minute, I'll come. Just a minute. Yes. Sorry for the inconvenience caused. Yes. What is port number? Can I say port number? Like IP address is the address of a computer, as well as port number is the which process is running. If I want to know the address, which process or application I have to reach to. that will be specified that is basically which program, application, or process within that system, within that computer, that will be specified by port number in easy way. Is it correct? Yes.
Ma'am, router has multiple ports. So
Mhm.
how will you differentiate the port like you have explained? Is
Hmm.
any application or software which is in the computer has a
Hmm.
port.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So what is the difference between that port and the port on the router?
Uh, okay. Okay, you're saying I'm saying that, okay, a specific process basically running on a computer within the network, it is having a numerical identifier that is basically port number. Like HTTP, it is having a port number 80.
All right.
Or,
Ma'am, I have a doubt, ma'am.
hmm,
Ma'am, the port number is also called as a numerical number.
hmm, hmm.
And my doubt is that what is port number?
That is what I'm saying. Like port number, it is like we have many processes running in a computer. If I want to know the address of the computer, I want to reach to that process. So if I want to reach that service, if I want to reach the first of all, I want to reach that computer A wants to communicate process B in computer B. So first of all, I'll reach computer B from computer A, that is I'll reach through IP address. Now process B, I'll reach through the port number.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
One of you were asking about router. Can you again pardon the question? That is what I was confused. Yes. In computer, port number is logical thing that helps in network process identification. Yes. IP and port are to identify. I'm sorry. IP and port are to identify the device. Yes, absolutely correct. One of you was asking something about router and all. Can you again pardon the question? That was what I was thinking. Okay, I think we should. Is it clear, the port number definition? Should we proceed?
Ma'am, can you give any example of a process like what process are identified by the numerical numbers? Like all the processes, whatever is running on the computer is
Hmm.
identified by a numerical number and is called a port number.
All the processes identified by, can you repeat your question? All the processes you're saying they're
So
identified?
I am trying to understand
Mhm.
the like you said that the like there are many processes running in a computer, right?
Hmm, 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 hmm.
And if I want to access certain process
Hmm,
from computer A
hmm,
which is on the computer B.
hmm,
So from computer A to B, I will be the computer A will identify the process by the port number,
hmm, hmm, hmm,
right?
hmm.
Right. This is how it will have happened, right?
Computer
So
A
I'm
will
trying
first
to understand
identify
that what kind of processes you are talking about, like which are like all the processes, whatever is running on a computer system
Hmm.
is a process, right?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
all of them are identified by a numerical number, and that number is known as port number.
Yes, yes, yes. First of all, I'll reach computer B and then I'll reach a particular process which I want to send the information to, or whatever I want to. All the processes are having their unique identification number, that is a port number.
All right.
And you were mentioning about router having the port number.
So router has ports on it.
Router doesn't have its own port number because it's not a router is just
Like
having.
a device that has multiple ports, you can connect network cable with it.
Yes,
So
yes,
that port and this port number, how is it different? These are different things, right? Now what I understand is
yes, 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 yes.
okay.
Okay, let's go back. Just when I was explaining you, I was like, okay, you should know about this. So again, going to the socket part. So server is creating a socket and listening for the incoming connection. Then client is connecting to the server socket using IP and port. Then data is exchanged between client and server with this socket. Basically, to exchange the data between the client and server, we are using this port. And then the connection is closed once the communication is over. So this is basic idea of socket. Now coming to FTP. Can you tell me what is FTP in short? Any one of you?
File transfer protocol, ma'am.
What does it do?
While sharing the files and information stored from one system to another system.
Okay. And what is there were two terms mentioned in the lecture as well: control connection and data connection. What do you mean by that? Like FTP, it is used for file data transfer and all, and it is using TCP. Okay, that is transport layer protocol only. That will come later on. We understood two things here. The professor mentioned two things here: control connection is there as well as data connection is there. So can anyone tell me what is data connection as well as what is control connection?
Data is for upload and download of files, while control is for the commands. Like what has to be done of that.
Yes, 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 yes. So sending the commands basically, sorry, I'm right. So sending the commands basically, and that is basically the control connection. Controlling the commands and status messages like writing password or username and all that control commands and status messages. And it will remain open for entire FTP session, the control connection. And data connection, it is actually transfer of the files and directories listed. And one is active mode here and one is passive mode here. Can someone tell me in data connection, what do you mean by active mode and what do you mean by passive mode? So as we have two like control connection, data connection, two processes, data transfer process, which is the communication. One more thing I'll tell you. This is the connection there, and talking about the processes, that is data transfer protocol, or sorry, data transfer process. It means that the communication is through the data connection, and control protocol interpreter. The communication is through the control connection. So basically what they are doing the same thing, data, and they are doing the commands thing. Now active mode and passive mode. Yes, anyone? Yes, come on. Basically server uses the active mode and client uses the passive mode. That is only the main difference. So it is passive mode created and closed on the demand only, and the server is using for the outgoing data connection. That is the active mode here. And what else? Okay, now coming to TFTP. Trivial FTP. Here, as it was managed by TCP, here it is managed by UDP. We'll come to UDP TCP in detail. Just for the overview, this is basically connectionless. I'll come to these terms later on, or I'll say in easy language, this protocol is unreliable. A connection is not established, and that was a reliable protocol. Basically, the TCP. Here UDP is like unreliable protocol, or I can say connectionless basically. And the main use case, I don't think so it's mentioned, it's bootstrapping. Basically, when we are downloading any OS, so downloading any boot file, the OS thing, OS or the required document like resources, it may be like better to do it by TFTP, as much resources are not needed for that. It's connectionless, so it's fine. We can use the TFTP rather than using the FTP here. Any doubts?
Madam, I have this confusion always. UDP is unreliable, TCP is reliable. But you said for booting, we use UDP. But booting also, we don't want data to get corrupted, right? We want is reliable data to come to boot. So I understand. UDP is much faster because there is no protocol overhead. That doesn't mean that are there any examples where we can live with unreliable data?
And there are many examples in which I don't want security that much, I'll say. If the security is not that constraint, if the time is the constraint, like I want to be like no handshake should be there, like in TCP, it's like a handshake protocol. First of all, one will send and then the other. And in bootstrapping, it's like, I'll say, more people prefer it to be making it faster, making it quick, rather than to making it more secure. And they are lightweight as well, UDP, as compared to TCP, as TCP is requiring acknowledgement and everything. So that is why many people prefer bootstrapping, I'll say, for the UDP thing, because it's like more faster, and obviously it is like firewall and all will not be a concern there. Though sometimes TCP is also there, can be preferred, but UDP is preferred because of the faster. If you don't have the concern of security, if you have the concern of like time thing, then UDP is preferred. If you have the concern of security, then TCP is preferred. And UDP, why it's preferred for the bootstrapping? Because it's like faster or lightweight, I can say. And when you have to be like when reliability is needed, though you are okay with the overhead and delay, then TCP is preferred. Though I will discuss in detail in the transport layer. This was just an overview because I have talked about the term TCP and UDP here. Is it fine?
Okay, madam.
So I think, okay. I think we'll proceed now with the FTP questions in the next class. Now, what are the concepts? I think we are many things are left. HTTP is left for this week, and SMTP and SNMP. Am I correct? Okay, so I don't want to telnet and all. I don't want to rush. I want that everything should be like cleared. So we'll discuss those things in the next lecture. I'll be more fast in the next lecture. I think initially we are slow in the lecture. I'll be more fast, I think. I don't want to be fast and then
I think today's lecture was very interactive and many things got cleared. I think this is the correct pace.
Okay.
It's my opinion.
I don't want that I should be fast and then you shouldn't understand the concepts to like cover the syllabus and all. I should work in this space only. Maybe I'll take next, like in the next week, I may take more half an hour so that you guys can understand, like we can cover the concepts which are remaining. And in the next lecture, I'll many of you were having a doubt with assignment 0, assignment 1. So next lecture, we'll discuss this assignment first, and then we'll move to this HTTP, SNMP, and this MCQs of FTP and all. Is it fine? Okay. Again, I'll mention the YouTube link, as you guys were saying again. Many of you joined the lecture later on. This is the YouTube link. Okay, ma'am, because of some network issue, can't listen half an hour of 6:30 to 7. class is any problem raised, it's fine. Shirisha, I'll till tomorrow morning or tonight only, I'll upload maybe tomorrow morning to the lay, like I'll upload this in the YouTube channel. So you may, you can see the recorded video as well. I don't know. I think it will be MCQ based only. I'll ask. Okay. Maybe Gopal. Gopal, you know about that they are basically MCQ based or descriptive?
Yes, madam. 99% is MCQ only.
MCQ based, yes.
Mostly
yes.
MCQ. Yeah.
They're MCQ based only.
But maybe sometimes they ask us to calculate some bit rate and all that. But after that, MCQ only. MCQ only.
Yes. At the end, they're MCQ based only. And again, I'm writing the mail ID, though I didn't receive any mail last time as well. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can mail. You can write in the comment in the YouTube channel, like in the YouTube video. I'll answer it. And I hope so. Any feedback? I hope so. Today's session was more interactive one. Any other feedback? Yes. Thank you, Shirisha. Thank you, Aman. Thank you, Priyadarshini. Okay, let's conclude the session. Thank you so much, everyone. So any doubts? And yes, if you are having any doubts in the next assignment also, I can discuss the related questions with them so that you can solve the assignment, not the same question, the assignment which is not submitted. Thank you so much, class. See you in the next lecture.